Hey guys, Viking82 here, back with a new Viking Orations. Got another review for you today, and this time around I'm going to be talking to you about the debut full-length album from the band Frozen Soul, entitled Crypt of Ice. And if you are not familiar with this band, they are a death metal band out of Fort Worth, Texas that formed back in 2018, featuring Samantha Mobley on bass, Michael Monday on guitars. He is a former live member of the band Creeping Death, which is another great band. You have Chad Green on vocals, Matt Dennard, I don't know how exactly he prefers to pronounce it, on drums, and Chris Bonner on guitars. As I said, this is their debut full-length album. It is 10 tracks, clocks in just a little over 39 and a half minutes in length, and came out on Century Media Records just earlier this year. Previous to this, they did have one demo in 2019 entitled Encased in Ice, and they also have 3 different split releases throughout the years, including another one that came out this year. And this album has definitely gotten a lot of talk here since it's been out, and honestly I think it really deserves it. It starts with this really cool synth intro that's both haunting and very icy feeling and very cold, and it builds to this crescendo at about the 46-second mark, and then you're just hit by these chuggy guitars and these blast beats, and it actually has a kind of a Nile feel to it. I mean, it honestly sounds like something that could have come off probably, I want to say, amongst the Catacombs of Neferkot. It has one of those early, Nile riff sounds to it. But the guitars overall have a really nice heavy tone to them, with just that little bit of distortion to just kind of give them that little extra heaviness, I guess, a little dirtiness. And they play these, nice mid to fast-paced riffs mixed with some really slower, chuggy parts as well. And sometimes they really settle into these nice, heavy grooves that just really get your head moving. A perfect example of that is track number 4, Wraith of Death, which is a badass song title, by the way. At the minute and 6-second mark, it just gets in this nice little groove that you're just... Yeah, I just absolutely love that. Overall, I think the drum production here is very good, with a nice snap to the snare and a nice heavy thud to the kick drums. I really love the double bass on this album, and there's some really solid blast beats on here as well. And the drummer, Matt, he might seem to some people to be kind of doing a lot of these really simplistic sounding drum beats at first, but then he throws in these really cool drum rolls and fills into some really solid double bass passages as well. So really solid drumming in my opinion. Vocally, I'm really reminded a lot of Carl Willits of Bolt Thrower and Memoriam as well, and they have this a little bit of reverb to him. And while Chad does do some more kind of traditional sounding death growls, he mainly sticks to the Carl Willits style of vocal delivery. And I'm not saying he sounds exactly like Carl Willits, but the way he delivers it is very intelligible, and just everything about it just made me think of Carl Willits when I was listening to this album. Now, some of the things that I picked out throughout this whole thing. Track number 3, Hand of Vengeance. I love the intro here, which is this piano piece that, once again, and you'll hear me say this throughout talking about this album, is just very haunting, very icy sounding, with the sound of the wind in the background. And then at about the 2:15 mark, there's this really killer guitar riff that comes in. And at 2:28, the double bass section here just sounds so freaking awesome. Love that song. Going back to track number 4, Wraith of Death. Again, probably my favorite song title on here. The drums do this cool little pattern at one point, and then this really evil sounding riff comes in, mixed with the double bass underneath. It just sounds so badass. Track number 6, Encased in Ice. Oh my god, that intro. It is just a slow building intro with the sounds of wind from like a snowstorm, and the bass playing this really cool riff at about the 12-second mark, and then the guitars and the drums finally kick in at 41 seconds in at this really slow pace, and they just play this dun 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 riff, and then finally when it kicks things into high gear, it settles into this nice galloping groove with some really solid double bass underneath of it. And it's actually, this song is the first time you actually get to hear the bass very clearly in the mix, as it kind of stands out by itself briefly, and it has a really nice tone to it. I think they got a really good heavy tone here. Track number 8, Twist the Knife. Again, another creepy intro, but this one has this kind of sounds like a gong hit that's just echoing from inside of a really creepy cave up on some snowy mountain. I mean, that's just the vibe I got from it. And then you get this little synth piece at about the 35-second mark, and then the bass once again gets to kind of stand out from the rest of the instruments here briefly. But this time around, it kind of has like a fuzzier tone to it, almost like something that Will Romer from Mortician might have on his bass, you know, that kind of a tone. Finally, track number 10, the end track, Gravedigger. That synth intro, it just sounds like it is straight from an 80s horror film. It is kind of, it's buzzing and it's ominous, and it just sounds like something they would play as a killer or some kind of, you know, fantastic creature or whatever is about to attack. And then about 34 seconds, that heavy guitar riff that comes and just, oh, so good. Overall, I think this is a solid debut. It's heavy with an atmosphere that, you know, as I said before, and I keep saying, it's cold, it's ominous, it just sounds icy as you're listening to it. A great overall production of everything, and I think the performances here are really solid. And it definitely lives up to all the hype that it has been getting, and I would definitely recommend you checking this out. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. So go check out Frozen Soul. Go check out this album. Great stuff. Support the band. And yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.